My boss fired me for taking unlimited PTO. Now he owes me a year's salary. The notification didn't sound like a catastrophe. It sounded like a soft, cheerful ping that cut through the sound of the ocean waves crashing against the stilts of our overwater bungalow. I was lying on a lounge chair, a half-empty coconut on the table next to me, watching my wife, Sarah, snorkel in the turquoise water below. It was Tuesday, February 17th. We were in Bora Bora. This was supposed to be the best week of my life. I reached for my phone, squinting against the blinding tropical sun, expecting a text from the dog sitter or maybe a push notification about the weather back home. It was an email. The preview simply read, "Notice of termination." My stomach dropped so hard I felt like the deck had collapsed beneath me. I sat up, spilling the coconut water onto my chest, ignoring the sticky coldness as I unlocked the screen with trembling fingers. From HR Department. Subject, Notice of Termination, Job Abandonment. Dear John. Effective immediately, your employment with TechNova Solutions is terminated for cause. You have failed to report to work for 15 consecutive days without authorized leave. This constitutes job abandonment under Section 4.2 of the Employee Handbook. Access to company systems has been revoked. A box will be sent to your home address for the return of company property. I read it twice. Then a third time. My vision blurred, the bright blue of the ocean turning into a smear of gray panic. Job abandonment. Failed to report. Unauthorized leave. John. Sarah's voice floated up from the water. Babe, look at this fish. It's neon blue. I couldn't answer. I couldn't breathe. I was 5,000 miles from home, holding a bill for a $10,000 vacation I could no longer afford, staring at the digital execution of my career. They fired me. They fired me while I was on my honeymoon. I stood up, my legs feeling like jelly, and walked into the air-conditioned bedroom. I needed to sit down before I fell down. I opened my laptop, praying that maybe, just maybe, my access hadn't been cut yet. Login failed. Account deactivated. I was locked out. I slammed the laptop shut. The sound echoed in the room like a gunshot. No, I whispered, the anger finally piercing through the shock. You don't get to do this. Not after 6 months of 80-hour weeks. Not after I played by your rules. I grabbed my phone again and scrolled back. Way back. Back to a folder in my Photos app labeled Receipts. I opened the first image. It was a screenshot of the company's job listing from 8 months ago. Perks, competitive salary, equity options, and unlimited paid time off. I swiped to the next image. A screenshot of the Employee Handbook, page 12. At TechNova, we trust our team. Take the time you need to recharge. There are no accrual limits and no caps on PTO duration. I swiped again. The confirmation email from the HR software, dated January 15th, request approved, John, last name, February 1st to February 21st. Status, auto-approved. I had them. I had every single piece of digital paper. But as I sat there in paradise, shaking with rage, I realized that having the proof wasn't enough. Greg, my boss, didn't care about proof. He cared about control. And he had decided to flex his muscle by nuking my livelihood while I was too far away to fight back. He thought I was stranded. He thought I was powerless. He forgot that I worked in data. And he forgot that I save everything. It started 2 months ago. I remember the Zoom call perfectly. It was a Tuesday afternoon, gray and miserable outside my home office window. Greg was on the screen, leaning back in his expensive gaming chair, wearing a vest that probably cost more than my rent. 3 weeks. Greg had laughed, a dry, dismissive sound. John, buddy, read the room. We're in a sprint cycle. I know, Greg, I said, keeping my voice steady. But I'm getting married. This is my honeymoon. I haven't taken a single day off since I started. The offer letter said unlimited PTO. Greg rolled his eyes. He leaned into the camera, his face filling the frame, his expression patronizing. John, look. Unlimited is a marketing term. It doesn't mean you can actually take it. It just means we don't track the days on a ledger so we don't have to pay you out when you leave. It's a liability thing. In reality, you can take 2 days. Maybe 3. But 3 weeks? That's excessive. The handbook says, take the time you need, I argued. There's no cap mentioned. I'm the cap, Greg snapped, his friendly facade dropping. We have deadlines. If you're gone for 3 weeks, who picks up the slack? Me? I don't think so. Request denied. I stared at him. He was rewriting the contract in real time. He was telling me that the benefit I had signed up for, the benefit that was the deciding factor in me taking this job over a competitor, was a lie. Okay, I said. I understand. Good, Greg smiled, thinking he had one. Glad we're on the same page. Take a long weekend. Go to the Poconos or something. The call ended. I didn't go to the Poconos. I went to my email. I drafted a message to Greg. Subject, clarification on PTO request. Hi Greg, just to confirm our conversation, you are denying my request for 3 weeks of PTO for my honeymoon, February 1st to 21st, despite the company policy stating unlimited PTO, with no blackout dates listed in my contract. Please confirm. I hit send. 10 minutes later, the reply came. From Greg. Subject, clarification. John, yes. 3 weeks is excessive and does not align with business needs. Unlimited does not mean you can abandon your team. Denial stands. He put it in writing. He actually put it in writing. I printed that email to PDF. Then I opened the company's HR portal, Workday. It's an automated system. When you request time off, it checks against your accrued balance. Since our policy was unlimited, the system had no logic to reject a request based on duration. The coders hadn't built in a cap because the policy said there was no cap. I entered the dates. February 1st to February 21st. I hit submit. The screen loaded for a second. Then, a green banner appeared. Request approved. Added to calendar. The system approved it. The official record of the company said I was authorized to be away. Greg's verbal denial and his email were in direct conflict with the company's own automated governance. I didn't tell Greg. I didn't tell HR. I just saved the approval confirmation, packed my bags, and got on a plane. I knew it was risky. I knew he would be angry. But I didn't think he would fire me. I thought he would just yell at me when I got back. I thought he would write me up. Job abandonment. Sarah walked into the room, dripping wet, holding her fins. John. You okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. I looked at her. I couldn't ruin this for her. Not yet. Work trouble, I lied, forcing a smile that felt like it was cracking my face. Server went down. They're panicking. I just need to handle some emails. On our honeymoon? She frowned. Just for an hour, I said. Go order some drinks. I'll meet you at the bar. She kissed my cheek and left. I was alone with the wreckage of my life. I didn't enjoy the rest of the trip. The sunsets looked gray. The food tasted like ash. Every time I swiped my credit card, I felt a jolt of terror, wondering if I would be able to pay the bill when it came due. I spent my nights not sleeping, but researching. I built a timeline. I organized my files. We landed back in the States on February 22nd. My phone reconnected to the domestic network, and a flood of missed calls and texts came through. None from work. Just friends asking how the trip was. I didn't go home. I went straight to the office of a lawyer my cousin recommended. His name was Mike. He specialized in employment law, and he looked like a pit bull in a cheap suit. I sat in his office, jet-lagged and unshaven, and laid it all out. The offer letter. The handbook. The approval screenshot. And finally, the termination email. Mike looked at the documents. He didn't say anything for a long time. He just tapped his pen on the desk. So, Mike said, leaning back. They fired you for not showing up, when their own system said you were allowed to not show up. Exactly, I said. Greg denied it verbally and in email, but the official HR system approved it. I followed the handbook. And the handbook says, take the time you need. No caps. No approval hierarchy listed. Mike smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. John, do you know why companies switch to unlimited PTO? To be flexible. I guessed. No, Mike chuckled darkly. In this state, accrued vacation time is considered earned wages. If you have 2 weeks of vacation saved up and you quit, they have to pay you for those 2 weeks. It's a liability on their balance sheet. But if the policy is unlimited, you accrue nothing. The balance is zero. So when you leave, they owe you zero. It's an accounting trick to wipe millions of dollars of debt off their books. Okay, I said. So they're cheap. They're greedy, Mike corrected. But here's the catch. Courts have started ruling that if a company offers unlimited PTO but creates a culture where you can't actually take it, or if they fire you for taking it, it's a form of wage theft and fraud. It's called illusory compensation. They promised you a benefit to get you to sign, but the benefit doesn't exist. He picked up the termination email. This? Mike waved the paper. Firing you for job abandonment when you have a system-generated approval is wrongful termination. It's retaliation. And since they cited a specific cause that is demonstrably false, we can go after them for defamation if they try to block your unemployment. I don't want unemployment, I said. I want them to pay. Oh, they're going to pay, Mike said. We're going to file a suit. And then we're going to request discovery. I want to see their internal communications regarding PTO policies. I want to see if other employees have been denied. We filed the papers the next day. 2 weeks later, TechNova's legal team responded. They filed a motion to dismiss, claiming I was insubordinate for ignoring my manager's direct order. They thought it was a slam dunk. But the judge denied the dismissal. He ruled that the ambiguity of the unlimited policy and the conflicting system approval created a triable issue of fact. We moved to discovery. This is where the bodies were buried. Mike requested all Slack messages and emails between Greg, HR, and the executive team containing the keywords PTO, vacation, John, and unlimited. They fought it. They tried to claim privilege. The judge overruled them. When the documents arrived, I went to Mike's office to review them. There were thousands of pages. But one Slack thread stood out. It was a group chat between Greg and the VP of Operations, dated 3 months prior to my request. Greg, hey, team is asking about the new PTO policy. Are we really letting them take whatever they want? VP, LOL no. It's just for the books. Keeps accounting clean so we don't have to carry the liability. If anyone asks for more than a week, kill it. Just say, business needs. But don't put a hard cap in writing or we lose the loophole. Greg, got it. I'll keep them in line. Discourage extended absences. I stared at the screen. Keeps accounting clean. They admitted it. It was a scam. They marketed a benefit they never intended to honor to save money on payouts. This is it, Mike said, his eyes gleaming. "This is the smoking gun. This proves the policy is fraudulent. And it proves they fired you to enforce an illegal unwritten rule." But there was more. We found records of other employees. A woman named Lisa who asked for 2 weeks to care for a sick parent. Denied. A guy named Mark who wanted 10 days for a wedding. Denied. "This is a class action," Mike whispered. "John, this isn't just about you anymore. This is about everyone." We sent a settlement demand letter. We attached the Slack screenshots. We hinted that we were preparing to contact the other employees for a class action suit regarding wage theft and benefits fraud. The response from TechNova was immediate. They didn't want a class action. A class action would expose their accounting trick. It would trigger an audit. It would destroy their valuation. They asked for a mediation meeting. I walked into the conference room at Mike's office. The TechNova team was there. Their lawyer looked tired. Greg was there, too. Greg didn't look like the shark he was on Zoom. He looked small. He was wearing a suit that looked slightly too big for him, and he wouldn't meet my eyes. "We are prepared to offer a settlement," the TechNova lawyer began, sliding a folder across the table. "To resolve this matter amicably." Mike opened the folder. He glanced at the number. He closed the folder. "No," Mike said. "That is 6 months' salary," the lawyer said, irritated. "John was fired for taking a benefit he was contractually promised," Mike said calmly. "He was fired while out of the country, causing extreme distress. You labeled him a job abandoner, damaging his reputation. And we have evidence of systemic fraud regarding your benefits policy. If we go to trial, that Slack thread becomes public record. Do you want your investors to read that?" The lawyer stiffened. He looked at Greg. Greg looked at the floor. "What do you want?" the lawyer asked. 1 year full salary," Mike said. "Immediate vesting of all stock options. 6 months of Cobra health insurance paid in full. A letter of recommendation stating he was terminated without cause due to restructuring. And, a formal apology." "We can't do the apology," the lawyer said instantly. "Liability." "Then we go to court," I said. I spoke for the first time. I looked directly at Greg. "And I bring Lisa and Mark with me." Greg flinched. The lawyer asked for a recess. They left the room. They were gone for 20 minutes. When they came back, the lawyer looked defeated. "Agreed," he said. "On the condition of a strict non-disclosure agreement regarding the settlement amount and the internal documents." "Fine," Mike said. "But the policy has to change. You can't keep doing this." "We are reviewing our handbook," the lawyer muttered. I signed the papers. The check hit my account 3 days later. It was more money than I had ever seen at one time. It covered the honeymoon debt. It covered my rent for a year. It gave me a cushion I had never had. But the money wasn't the best part. 2 weeks later, I heard from a friend still at the company. "Dude," the friend texted me. "Greg is gone." "Fired?" I asked. "Reassigned. They moved him to a satellite office in Ohio. Demoted to individual contributor. No direct reports." And then, a second text. "And they updated the handbook. The unlimited PTO is gone. It's now flexible PTO, with a guaranteed 15-day minimum accrual. They actually have to track it now." I sat back on my couch. I wasn't in Bora Bora anymore. I was in my living room, unemployed, and happy. I took a month off. A real month. I didn't check email. I didn't touch Slack. I started interviewing again in April. I was picky. I landed a job at a competitor. During the interview, the hiring manager asked about benefits. "We offer 4 weeks of vacation," she said. 20 days. Hard cap. But it's yours. You earn it, you take it. We don't do that unlimited nonsense here. We like clarity. Clarity sounds great, I said. I started last week. I logged into the HR portal on my first day. Vacation balance, 0 days. Accrual rate, 1.66 days per month. I smiled. It wasn't unlimited. It wasn't a bottomless pit of potential that I could never touch. It was a number. A real, tangible number that belonged to me. And next February, I'm taking a week off. And I'm going to enjoy every single second of it, because I know exactly what it costs. So, tell me. Am I the monster for threatening a class action lawsuit to get a year's salary, or did I just debug the system?
If you have made it this far and want to see more videos like this, then kindly subscribe and turn on notifications so you may never miss another story like this.